guys, I don't know if you can see it very well on YouTube, but over the weekend, I got a little bit sunburned, a little bit cooked, as you can see, but it is quite okay. Had a wonderful time this weekend. Got a little bit burnt, just a tiny bit, but you probably can't see it because I'm pale and I'm white as a ghost. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can probably tell that I'm pale as a ghost. But if you're listening on audio, just feel what a sunburn feels like on your forehead, on the back of your neck, and on your forearm. So pretty, good time this weekend, but a little bit burned. I can feel it just a tad bit. Just a tad bit. Had a good time, and we're ready to rock and roll as we are entering June. It is June the 4th, and I am ready to rock and roll with some more college football here on Pigskin Frenzy with our conference standing projections. Finally, we are in the month of June. We're going to go over up until July 3rd of our conference standing projections. We're ready to rock and roll, and we're ready to keep on plugging in to Pigskin Frenzy. Month of June all the way until up until July 2nd of Pigskin Frenzy, doing our conference standing projections. Guys, welcome to Pigskin Frenzy on this wonderful Tuesday afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Joel Norris, and whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, listening on Podbean, or listening on Apple, a big thank you for taking some time out of your Tuesday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college football coverage presented by me. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple, all you have to do is just share around with others and follow on there as well. X, Instagram, and Facebook, just type in Pigskin Frenzy. Follow, like the pages there. You're going to get episode updates. You're going to get news and highlights from across college and NFL football. You're going to get trivia questions on Instagram stories. Go and answer today's college football question, as well as all things up to date for Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, our website, www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. There's a home and about me page there. You'll find a lot about me. You will also find you're the platforms page. All the platforms I just mentioned, you're going to find it. Go and click on Podbean, Apple, you name it. All platforms are on there. You can pick and choose which one you want to listen to on audio and video, as well as our affiliations page, which brings us to our proud partner in the Beard Club. Guys, if you want a great shave and you want to look really fresh and really good, kind of not like me, if you're watching on YouTube, I have a sort of a stubble, but nonetheless, get your stubble cleaned up, get your beard and facial hair cleaned up. Significant others of your male counterpart, if you're listening to the show, and those male counterparts, if you're listening to the show, listen up now. The Beard Club is where it's at. You can get a beard grooming kit for a discounted price of 15% off on the website. Go to the Beard Club and get these wonderful products. The beard grooming kit, there's also a boar bristle brush it comes with, beard oil, beard balm, beard and face wash, as well as body wash, 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, a loofah, you name it, all at the Beard Club. The Beard Club is what is best for facial hair and grooming needs to be met, all a part of Pigskin Frenzy's partnership. Go to my website, www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. There you will click on the affiliations page, click on the Beard Club logo, and then it will take you to the website to order some fantastic Beard Club products, as well as my link tree. Go to my link tree on X, Instagram, and Facebook. Click on the bios on one of those social media pages. There you will, or not even that, the description of the YouTube video has the link tree as well. You can click on that on the description of the YouTube video as well, and you can click on the Beard Club link there, and it will take you to the website. The Beard Club is what's best for you and your facial hair needs to be met. Proud partner of Pigskin Frenzy. Thanks for all that you guys do. College football day today. Let's get it rocking and rolling, and it is finally done. We're done with our spring outlooks. We're done with our spring results. Spring football coverage is done. Now we're rolling into the off season, rolling into the summer, and that's where the talking begins. You think it's going to be one of those scenarios where it's like, we're done with football and we're in a quiet period, but now this is where the talking begins. It's talking season, and it's talking season to the point where it's like, okay, well, we have June. We're in the month of June. It's June. It is June 4th, so we have a little bit to go. All right. So we have a little bit to go. And then now, not only that, we have, June 4th, we have 2.5 months. 2.5 months. We have a whole month of June, whole month of July, and pretty much the whole month of August. Around August 24th. August 24th is when week 0 starts. Week 0 starts. The main season starts August 31st, going into September 1st and Labor Day weekend. 2.5 months out until the college football season starts, and we're going to get rocking and rolling with it. The new era of college football begins, and we're going to rock and roll with our conference standing projections. I've been mentioning this for months. We did it last season. Last offseason, we did conference standing projections. We did all Power 5. We did Pac-12, Big 12. We did ACC, Big 10, and SEC. Now, unfortunately, the Pac-12 is gone as a result of this new era of college football. The remaining members of the Pac-12 are scheduling an alliance with the group of 5. So, as a part, the remaining 2 teams, to me, are now counted as a group of 5 in this list. So we're going to talk about a little bit of Oregon State and Washington State, spoiler alert, as a part of the group of 5. And we're going to talk about the group of 5 here in a little bit, because we kind of failed to mention the group of 5 last offseason, and we're going to do that in this episode. Next week, we will start our regular conference standing projections. It's kind of a hybrid conference standing projections. This is kind of based off of the college football playoff and who is most likely to grab that 12th spot at the end of the season in December. But this one, next week, next Tuesday, we're going to discuss the ACC and discuss the conference standing projections in the ACC and who wins the ACC championship game and who wins and goes on to the college football playoff potentially. So we're going to get right and rolling as if you're watching on YouTube, as I adjusted my headset and, scratching a little bit. But let's get right and rolling, and let's get ready to do the group of 5. The group of 5 has been something that been kind of been eluding a little bit. A lot of guys have been messaging me and asking me, why are you doing the group of 5? You haven't been talking about the group of 5 at all. Well, it's not the group of 5 is a thing where, to me, it's, yes, the group of 5 needs to be in there. And I've mentioned the group of 5. If you go back on my social media and on Pigskin Frenzy social media on X, Facebook, and Instagram, and you look at the conference standing projections, you will know that I've been doing, group of 5. I had a group of 5 teams in the Frenzy playoff rankings, in the college football, in the Pigskin Frenzy college football playoff rankings, in my rankings, which won't start until late October, early November is when the Pigskin Frenzy rankings will start. We'll go over the AP poll throughout then, but until then, the Frenzy rankings won't start until the college football playoff rankings actually start. But I mentioned them in my rankings. I really did. And I've been mentioning the group of 5. It's just a lot of teams. It's just you don't really see it because in the top 4, you don't mention the group of 5. The only group of 5 team that's gotten in was Cincinnati in 2021. It was Desmond Renner in Cincinnati. They finally put a group of 5 team in. They were like, all right, everybody's been complaining about a group of 5 team going into the playoff. They want one in. Let's put one in and let's show them what happens against a Power 5 team. Now, Cincinnati, to its credit, with Mike Denbrock as their OC and Luke Fickell as their head coach, gave Alabama all they have. And in the end, Alabama went to the national championship after beating Cincinnati in the Cotton Bowl. So let's talk about this for a second, and let's discuss this. Let's discuss it in the playoffs and everything. In the 12-team playoff, the group of 5 will get in again. In the 4-team era, there wasn't many group of 5 teams besides Cincinnati. Yes, there was the whole UCF debacle, but they never got in. Now, there's a chance for the group of 5 to actually make some noise and actually get in that 12th spot. And it's, I guess, now time to finally start mentioning more of the group of 5. And I'm not saying that as a knock at the group of 5. I think the group of 5 has got some really good football teams and football programs there. We got teams like Liberty, teams like Memphis, teams like Tulane, teams like San Diego State coming back on the rise with Sean Lewis as their new head coach. You have a lot of guys, UNLV with Barry Odom. You have a lot of, and if you include in the Mountain West Scheduling Alliance, you include Washington State with Jake Dickert and Oregon State in there. You have a lot of good programs in there. And you got a lot of teams that are really good football teams, especially since last season. But when you look and think about everything, are they true contenders for the 14 playoff? And that was no. They weren't. And now they are. And I'm just telling it how it is. I'm keeping it at $1.50. Just keeping it at $1.50, telling everybody how it is. But now we have that option. We have that in play. The group of five has a shot at making it to the 12-team playoff, and most likely will grab that 12th playoff spot, that at-large 12th playoff spot. There in the group of five, as the group of five, the highest ranked group of five champion there. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to discuss out of order who is the highest team that can make it to the group of five and grab that 12th spot, the highest ranked group of five champion who can make that 12th team playoff spot this coming up December. It's not really conference based, like who's going to finish in what conference. We'll start mainly that next week, but this kind of counts as conference standing projections based out of the college football playoff. So we'll title it conference standing projections with a group of five, but it's mainly about who's going to finish the highest in the group of five before we start out with our conference or overall conference standing projections next week with the ACC. So let's just keep plugging into Pigskin Frenzy, just giving y'all a rundown, and keep on going with Pigskin Frenzy on all audio platforms and YouTube and all social media and website platforms as well for Pigskin Frenzy. So let's kick it off with our list at number 10. And number 10 is an interesting one. And I've been thinking about this list for the past week. Of course, I have been. Why not? By the way, this list will be posted on Facebook and X. This list will be posted on Facebook and X. Go and check it out on Facebook and X. This coming up tomorrow, which is Wednesday. Check it out on Facebook and X. I will post the full list on those social media platforms tomorrow. So I'll do that with every list, and I will try my best to make it look like it's seen and well and done well for the website, so for the social media platform. So let's talk about number 10, and let's talk about who could be it on this list as a high-ranked group of five team to make it to the 12-team playoff. Number 10, UNLV. And UNLV had a great season last year. Barry Odom did a heck of a job. 9-5 last season. Made it to the Mountain West Championship against Boise State. Boise State beat them 44-20. But if you look at them on December 2nd of Saturday of 2023, they went into that game with a bunch of confidence. Barry Odom changing that culture around in UNLV, bringing a sense of strong and physical defense to the group of five and to the Mountain West. They did a really good job last season. Had a night, fought in a hard-fought bowl game against Kansas in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. Lost that one. Finished 9-5. Some heartbreakers last season with San Jose State losing 31-37. They pulled an upset win against Air Force, 31-27. They got a dominant win over Wyoming last season, 34-14. And the list goes on. They have been a team to not be reckoned with. They beat Vanderbilt, a SEC team, 40-37. So when you look at that, they beat an SEC team. Vanderbilt kind of on the raw end of the stick here when it comes to SEC teams, but an SEC team nonetheless. Heartbreaker to Michigan. They beat Bryant College 44-14. It's 9-5. Not a bad year. And it's one of those things where if they can just rebound and get some of these wins back in the 2024 season, maybe it can all add up. Just maybe. 2024 schedule looks like this. If you want to just go deeper into it with UNLV, I'll probably go through the list fairly quickly here. It'll be a shorter episode of the show, but let's talk about this list really quick of the schedule that they got. I mean, if you look at it, they have a tough game against Houston, obviously, at Houston on Fox Sports 1 this coming up Saturday at Houston. So a Big 12 team right off the bat. It's one that they could win, but you got a coach in Willie Fritz now at Houston that could do some wonders in the Big 12. So you got Utah Tech, a winnable game there. A Friday ESPN game, 4 p.m. local time, 7 Eastern on ESPN, September 13th at Kansas City, Kansas, at Children's Mercy Park against the Jayhawks. Tough game there, a rematch from the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. You got Fresno State, a very tough Group of 5 team. You got Syracuse, Utah State, Oregon State. At Oregon State, you got to play them. Boise State in the Mountain West title game rematch. Hawaii, San Diego State next at home. San Jose State on the road. And then Nevada. Nevada in the last game of the season. Tough scheduling there for UNLV. But there are some games as they could rebound. And if they can pull off some upsets and rebound, UNLV and Barry Odom could surprise a lot of people this season. So let's watch out for UNLV. They're number 10 on my list. I don't think that it's likely that they could win some of these games. I think that the tough ones are Boise State, Oregon State, Fresno State, and Kansas, and most likely Houston. Those are some games there that they could lose. I'm going to put them at number 10 because I think there's some winnable games on there that they could get through. But those are some tough games that they could try to pull out, but most likely going to be a little bit tough to handle. So you got that there. Number 10 for this list is UNLV there. So we got that one out of the way. Let's talk about number 9 here. And let me just pull up my list. Bear with me. My list here. And number 9 is Miami, Ohio. Miami, Ohio was a team making a lot of noise last year. The Red Hawks were. A lot of noise last year. And once we let's dive deep into their schedule from last season. And they had a lot of games last season where they won. They surprised a lot of people. They went 11-3. 11-3 last year in their schedule. And we're going to talk about that. First game, September 1st, Friday, the Battle of Miami. They lost 33-38, okay? Started off 0-1. Started off not pretty, but 3-38, not a good look, but they bounced back quickly. 41-28 against Massachusetts, at Massachusetts. They go on the road and play Cincinnati on ESPN Plus, a Big 12 team. And they upset them in overtime, 31-24. Beat them in overtime, beat Delaware State 62-20. Went to Kent State, beat them 23-3. Went back home to Bowling Green, beat them 27-0. Western Michigan went on the road, 34-21. Lost a close one to Toledo, and Toledo on this list is obviously a barn burner when you look at Toledo, right? So Toledo, lost that one. When you look at their next game, Ohio beat Ohio 30-16. Ohio lost a lot in the portal this offseason. Tough break for them. Back home against Akron, beat Akron 19-0. Back against Buffalo, beat Buffalo 23-10. Beat Ball State 17-15. They rematched Toledo in the MAC championship, and they beat them 23-14, and then lost to App State in the Cure Bowl 9-13 in a very, very rainy game. 11-3 for Miami, Ohio. Not a bad year. They return majority of their players. They're looking like they're gonna rock and roll. Their schedule a little bit tough, which is why I put them at number 9. They got some games on this list that they could possibly drop. At Northwestern, their opening game, and this is home game for them. Away game for them. They play Northwestern. Northwestern coming off of a very good, surprising season last year after the firing of Pat Fitzgerald, wondering what they're going to do with Ryan Braun as their head coach, and Braun got the job done. So Northwestern, going to be a tough one there. Home against Cincinnati, a rematch against Cincinnati from last season. Is Cincinnati going to bring them to overtime again in the Big 12? I don't know. The next game, they got Notre Dame. At Notre Dame, and to me, I think Notre Dame has them there. Massachusetts, home game there. At Toledo, at Eastern Michigan, Ohio. And as the list goes on, harder schedule than it was last season, and there's very winnable games here with with a lot of returns. They could have another 11-win season. Have a 10-win season maybe, but Cincinnati, Notre Dame, and Northwestern are the games you can keep an eye on their schedule, and that could bring them down the list for me at number 9. So that's why I put them at number 9. A lot of the list is of the schedule is kind of struggling for me a little bit, and they look like they could struggle in some of these games. So number 9, Miami of Ohio, the Red Hawks at 9 for me. Now number 8, here we go. Former Pac-12 team, classified to me as the group of 5. We're going to talk about Oregon State. Oregon State, man. Let's talk about Oregon State. Let's dive deep into everything. They became a part of, really in my eyes, the group of 5 after the Pac-12 disbanded. Sorry, as I'm getting my list together, so bear with me here. Jonathan Smith left for Michigan State. Oregon State hires their new interim head coach as their permanent full-time coach, Trenton Bray. He was their defensive coordinator. Now he's their full-time head coach, Trenton Bray, now at Oregon State. And when you look at Oregon State, they remained with the Pac-12, quote unquote, as a part of the Pac-12, after the Pac-12 disbanded really as in they went down with the Pac-12. Washington State and Oregon State did not budge. They didn't move. Every other team in the conference left with the Big 10 and the Big 12. The conference kind of died off season, and it was the last football season last year. Represented by Pac-12 was Washington in the national championship. Very interesting. Oregon State did really, really well in the Pac-12. Almost had a few teams, lost close games to Washington, and lost some close games. They ended up in their schedule in the Pac-12 last season going 8-5 overall. They beat San Jose State, beat UC Davis, beat San Diego State, lost to Washington State, beat Utah 21-7, beat Cal, beat UCLA. They lost close games to Arizona. They lost to Washington close, and they lost to Oregon badly. So a lot of games there they lost, and unfortunately lost to Notre Dame in the Sun Bowl. But never to fear. Conference is gone, but you've aligned yourself in the group of 5. So now you're a part of the group of 5, and scheduling it's kind of in a Mountain West scenario, which if they win, they would go to the Mountain West Championship. So kind of in that scenario with the group of 5. If you look at their schedule going into 2024, a lot of games that are winnable, but also tough. They got Oregon still in Corvallis. The Civil War is still happening, but it's happening in September. So an early game with Oregon, that could set them back, as Oregon is a very tough team, bringing back a lot of good players, including a transfer coming in with Dylan Gabriel coming in for Oregon. So that's another tough test right there. You got Purdue, you got Colorado State, you got Nevada, UNLV, Cal, San Jose State, got Air Force as well, Washington State, Boise State as their last game. Got a lot of tough games here coming up. Idaho State's a win to me. San Diego State will probably be a win for me. Oregon's the loss. Purdue could probably be a loss. Colorado State could be a win. And there's a lot of wins on this schedule where you can look and think these are some winnable games that they can move up in the standings here. But I think there's a lot of games that are tough and a lot of games that they could lose here, because Oregon State's lost a lot. Along with Jonathan Smith, they've lost a good bit. So a lot of key players have left, like a DJ Uiagalelei, like a Damian Martinez. He went to Miami. Uiagalelei went to Florida State. A lot of key players left. A lot of their defenses left. It's kind of like a rebuilding thing, but I can see them winning some games and making it to a bowl. I got them at 8. I think that they're going to finish there as the 8th highest ranked group of 5 team. I think there's some of these games are going to be too tough, and I think a lot of key losses are going to affect them in this game. Or in this standings, right? So going off of that, I'm thinking going off of that Oregon State at 8 is suffice for this one. So number 7, if you want to look at number 7 here, number 7, we're going to talk about Air Force Falcons, who honestly did really, really well last season, ladies and gentlemen, did really well last season. And had the Jim Thorpe Award winner. Their defense was solid. A lot of their schedule was fairly good last season. They honestly, as far as I remember, as I'm pulling up the notes here, they went 9-4, almost a 10-win season, undefeated at first, beating Robert Morris badly, Sam Houston badly, Utah State. They beat San Jose State, beat San Diego State, Wyoming's bad, Navy bad. They lost to Army. That was their first loss of the year. Lost to Hawaii in an upset. Lost to UNLV. Lost to Boise State. And then beat James Madison in the bowl game, in the Armed Forces Bowl. So they had a good run. They had a very good run, and it's a part of the group of 5. James Madison's now part of the group of 5 as well. Don't know what's going on with James Madison. It's kind of hard for me because James Madison is just, they've lost a ton too, as well as their head coach. So our Air Force in this list looks like a well-oiled machine, coming back for this year. Easy opener against Merrimack, San Jose State. They got Baylor. That's going to be always going to be a tough game right there. Some of these games that they got are really tough. I can honestly see them losing some of these games and dropping some of these games en route to a Mountain West championship, and they could very well go to a Mountain West championship this season. Some of these games are very winnable, but some of them are losable, and I think that's what puts me there at the 7th spot for Air Force. So Air Force is at number 7 as the highest 7th ranked group of 5 team. Toledo is at 6. We got Toledo at 6. Toledo is a team there that when you look at Toledo, could be a threat, an underlining threat in the group of 5 and in the MAC. Toledo, along with Miami, Ohio, are probably the 2 best teams coming back into the MAC conference. What they did last season was quite impressive on their schedule, 11-3. They lost to Illinois off the bat, though. Last season bounced back after that, beat Texas Southern 71-3. San Jose State racked up wins against San Jose State, Western Michigan, Northern Illinois, UMass, Ball State, Miami of Ohio. Lost to the rematch of Miami, Ohio in the MAC championship. Won a lot of games. The only 3 losses they had really were the opener, the MAC championship, and Wyoming in the Arizona Bowl. A lot of good players are coming back from Toledo. It's looking like they're hungry, ready to go, and they could be one of those teams that could pull it out and win the MAC and end up, climbing the polls and being in the 12-team playoff. So Toledo at 6 is suffice for me. I think they're a solid team and a solid threat to watch out for as the 12th man in the playoff and the highest ranked group of 5 team. But to me, I think some of these games are losable, and I think that's what puts them at 6 in this game. If you look at if that was their old schedule, let's look at their new schedule really quick before we move on. Some of these games that they got this season are losable. They got Mississippi State. That's a loss right there. UMass, Western Kentucky, Miami, Ohio, Buffalo, Eastern Michigan. They got a lot of teams there that could beat them. Miami, Ohio, and Mississippi State are 2. And maybe Western Kentucky could do something. We just got to watch out and see. Toledo at 6 is suffice for me. I think they're a solid team, but I think that at 6 is just right for me there. So Toledo at 6. Number 5, we're going to the top 5 now. Number 5, Washington State. Washington State with Jake Dickert, just like Oregon State, stayed in the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is kind of gone, so now they've aligned themselves with also the Mountain West scheduling and the Group of 5. Mountain West time, Group of 5, Washington State. Let's talk about what's going on there. Washington State, and they had a good scheduling there. last season. They were 5-7 at first, and they were winning at first, especially with Cam Ward as their quarterback. Solid quarterback there for the team. Beat Colorado State, beat Wisconsin, beat Northern Colorado, beat Oregon State. They were undefeated. They were 4-0, and then it kind of got downhill for there. UCLA lost there. Arizona, they lost to a bad game against Arizona. Lost to Oregon by a couple of scores. Lost to Arizona State by a couple of scores. Stanford lost to Stanford, lost to Cal, and then beat Colorado, and then lost to Washington. Finished 5-7. Didn't go the way they planned in the Pac-12 last season, but it could honestly work out for them this time. That's why I have them so high at 5. I think the scheduling could be a lot more easy, a tiny bit easier than it was last season for them. So I think they have a lot of good players on their roster, minus Cam Ward. Now he is at Miami, but Jake Dickert's going to get this thing turned around, I believe, and I think their scheduling this year for the group of 5 is a lot better than it was last season as we go to their scheduling in the into the 2024 schedule. Portland State, Texas, Portland State, that's a win. That could be a win right there. I think 2 losses there. That's going to be hard for me to see them, and that's why I put them at number 5 is Texas Tech and Washington, which is going to put them back to me at number 5 there. So Washington, Texas Tech, they got San Jose State, at Boise State, at Fresno State. Those are some winnable games there, but still tough. They got to prepare for those games. Hawaii's a winnable game. San Diego State is a winnable game. I think San Diego State with Sean Lewis will be good next season in 2025 and beyond, but this season's kind of a rebuilding year for them. So that's going to be a winnable game for Washington State. Utah State could be a win there. New Mexico is going to be a win there for me. Oregon State, and it's going to be a tough one there. And then Wyoming. So tough ones there with Oregon State, Texas Tech, and Washington. I think they can pull some of those out. I think they can lose those 3 too as well. I think number 5 is what gets me there. They can lose those 3 games, probably puts them back around number 5 in the group of 5 rankings, as the 5th highest ranked group of 5 team out there. So for me, 5th highest ranked group of 5 team out there is Washington State. In the newly formed group of 5 team, Washington State. Top 4, number 4, we got Memphis, the Memphis Tigers. The Memphis Tigers. So let's talk about Memphis for a little bit. Let's talk about what happened with them last season, because they had a really good run at first last season. They really did. And all of a sudden, it all came back. It all came back and got them. Memphis is a team that cannot be underlooked, especially every year. I'm trying to pull up my notes here. Just for me, a team, when I look at Memphis and I look at, who they are as a team, and when I look at who they are coming in, they're a solid group of team, solid coaching staff, solid roster. They could be a threat, especially in the group of 5, especially in the American Conference. Ryan Silverfield, head coach of this team, already establishing himself as one of the best group of 5 coaches out there, Ryan Silverfield. And their scheduling is pretty solid. Last season, they had at least as I look at their record here on my notes, Memphis had a 10-win season. Yes, 10-win season as it just pulled up. I was just guessing off, just thinking about that. 10-win season, if I remember correctly. But yes, 10-3 last season for Memphis. Bethune-Cookman beat them. Arkansas State, Navy lost to Missouri, but a lot of teams were going to lose to Missouri. Boise State lost to Tulane, UAB, North Texas, South Florida, Charlotte, and lost to SMU, beat Temple, beat Iowa State in the Liberty Bowl. So a few games there that they were going to lose. SMU, Missouri, of course, and then they lost to Tulane as well, and Tulane's a solid team in the American. So, of course, and Tulane's still a solid team in the American. But Memphis could be one of those teams that could surprise a lot of teams. I put them at 4 because, like I said before, scheduling is a little bit tough this year in the new era of college football. So let's talk about their schedule. Let's look at their schedule. Let's look and see who they got. Opener, North Alabama. That's a win. Troy, John Summerall, no longer at Troy. I think that's a win there. 2-0 to start the season. They have a tough game. Their third game at Florida State. I think, by the way, former head coach Mike Norvell, former Memphis head coach, coaching against his old team. I think Florida State gets them there. That's their loss there. Beats Navy, beats Middle Tennessee, beats South Florida, beats North Texas, Charlotte. I think the tough teams, what it comes by for me, is Tulane and Texas San Antonio. Those are some tough teams there. I think those are the tough ones right there to look at. And I think, to me, the fourth highest team to me is Memphis because of those games. I think Texas San Antonio could be a loss, and Tulane could be a loss as well. So Memphis, fourth highest ranked college, group of 5 team going in, and could be on their way to a playoff maybe. But let's see how it all unfolds. I got them at 4 on my group of 5 standing projections here. For going into the 2024 season. So Memphis at number 4, number 3, 2-1. The top 3 before we conclude today's episode of Pigskin Frenzy. Number 3, UTSA. Jeff Traylor back with the Roadrunners. Solid season last year. Had a good season last year, in my eyes. UTSA did. I think that the Roadrunners football showed a lot with Jeff Traylor. He was even rumored for different positions. Mississippi State, Arkansas. Even if Arkansas was going to get rid of Sam Pittman, they were looking at Jeff Traylor. He even interviewed for the Texas A&M job. If Mark Stoops were to leave Kentucky, they were going to interview him at Kentucky. So Jeff Traylor, a talked about head coach, a hot commodity in college football right now. They had a great season last year, 9-4. Jeff Traylor did an amazing job last year. So, obviously, opening game against Houston last season, lost. Beat Texas State, lost to Army, lost to Tennessee, unfortunately. Beat Temple, beat UAB, beat Florida Atlantic, and they just started getting on a winning streak, getting on a hot streak, and kept on going in the American Conference. Just kept going. They lost to Tulane, beat Marshall in their last game of the year, and they just kept going and going. They kept plugging. They were a team that was a tough team, a very tough team, played very physical football, and that's what Jeff Traylor preaches at Texas San Antonio. So UTSA is number 3 on my list because I think they got a really good shot at upsetting some of these teams and going into the American Conference Championship even. So that's how I am viewing it for their season, and that's how I view it for right now. Their schedule right now is pretty solid. Kennesaw State's going to be a win there. They got to play. They have to play Texas State next. That's a win. Unfortunately, they got to play Texas on ESPN. And I think Texas on ESPN, that's going to be a loss there. Texas, a newly formed SEC school there. Houston Christian, East Carolina, Rice, Florida Atlantic, Tulsa, all wins there. I think they beat Memphis. I think they beat North Texas, Temple, Army. They could honestly, to me, go to the American Championship. I think they got a shot. I think Texas San Antonio, most likely, goes to the American Championship. And I think they're going to go against the number 2 team there, and the number 2 team on my list here. And I think Texas San Antonio is number 3. I think they bring all their players back. They're physical. They're tough. They got the coaching staff, and I think they're going to make it to the American Conference Championship. And they're the 3rd highest ranked Group of 5 team in my standing projections going into the college, based off the college football playoffs. Number 3, UTSA. Number 2, Tulane. And I'm going to put Tulane there, even though they lost Michael Pratt. They gained a very valuable coach in John Summerall. And John Summerall, solid head coach. He's a solid coach, been really, really good at Troy. right? Really, really good at Troy. He's going to bring some of that passion and fire and energy to Tulane and to the Green Wave in New Orleans. Kai Horton is a solid quarterback. He was a solid backup for Michael Pratt last season. Did really well in that Ole Miss game at first in the first half. He's back for this team. Redshirt junior Kai Horton should be that guy to lead them to the conference championship against UTSA. I think they're going to be probably that team to lead them. They're the number 2 team in my mind in the group of 5. And their schedule proves it, I think. I think their schedule proves it right now. They got Southeastern Louisiana. That's a win. I think they lose to Kansas State. I think they lose to Oklahoma. I think they beat Louisiana, beat South Florida, beat UAB, beat Rice, beat North Texas, beat Charlotte, beat Temple, and win all these games up until the American Conference Championship. I think Memphis is going to be tough, but I think they overcome Memphis on Senior Day, their last game, Thanksgiving game on Thanksgiving, on Senior Day, beat them and advance to the American Conference Championship to play Texas San Antonio and to try to make it as the 12th team in to the college football playoff. I think that the real shots right now are Memphis, UTSA, and Tulane, and then number 1 on my list, who I think will most likely and probably will make it into the 12th spot in the 2024 college football playoff this season. So that's number 2, Tulane. Johnson Morrall, great coach, solid coach even, but I think they're number 2. I think number 1 to me, obviously, group of 5, number 1 guy, number 1 team, group of 5 standings is Liberty. Liberty Flames with Jamie Chatwell as their head coach. They are a absolute animal. They lost C.J. Daniels to LSU in the transfer portal, but they still got a lot of guys there. At linebacker, they got Jerome Jolly Jr., Billy Lucas at running back. They got a solid defensive end in Larry Jones III. They have a solid defensive end in T.J. Bush. If you look at if you look at their quarterback play, they have one of the best. I think they have the best group of 5 quarterback out there in Caden Salter, junior quarterback out of Cedar Hill, Texas. He has remained with the Liberty Flames. He is fired up to be a Flame, and he is ready to go with Jamie Chatwell. They're absolute animals. Liberty is. They made it to the Fiesta Bowl last season against Oregon, scored on them at first, and then Oregon ran roughshod on them in the Fiesta Bowl, but that's okay. Oregon's a solid team last year, and they were a hard team to beat last season. If you look at their schedule, especially, as it's pulling up, if you look at their schedule, especially in their conference, and if you look at their Conference USA schedule, it's looking solid. I mean, they got in their opener Campbell in a win. I think they beat New Mexico State, beat UTEP, beat East Carolina. App State's going to be a challenge. I think they could drop that one. Maybe they're going to beat FIU, beat Kennesaw State, beat Jacksonville State, beat Middle Tennessee, beat UMass. Western Kentucky's going to be a challenge, and then Sam Houston, and then there comes the Conference USA Championship. I think they have a shot at losing 1 or 2 games. Western Kentucky, App State are the 2 teams that they could lose to, but I still think they make it into the Conference USA Championship and end up winning the Conference USA Championship and going on to the 12-team playoff. I think they have the highest shot at being the 12th seed in the college football playoff. I think Liberty's the best group of 5 team out there, led by Jamie Chatwell. He's doing the same thing he did at Coastal Carolina, but with Liberty. He's got a Grayson McCall-like quarterback in Caden Salter, maybe even better than Grayson McCall. But, I mean, I think Grayson McCall's a solid quarterback, but Caden Salter is doing he's athletically gifted, doing a lot of great stuff for Liberty. So Liberty at 1 in the group of 5 conference standing projections based off the 2024 college football playoff. That was my list. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section on YouTube. Message me even, and if you think it's dumb, you can message me even and think, I will let you know what you think. I'm going to post this on X and Facebook Wednesday, tomorrow, during the day tomorrow, Wednesday. The Group of 5 conference standing projection list for the 2024 season based off of the playoff will be on X and Facebook tomorrow. Comment down below on there and let me guys know what you think about this episode and this list. That is all we got for Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, a big thank you for taking some time out of your Tuesday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college football coverage presented by me. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple, all you have to do is just share around with others and follow on there as well. X, Instagram, and Facebook, just type in Pigskin Frenzy. Follow like the pages there. You're going to get episode updates. You're going to get news and highlights from across college and NFL football. You're going to get trivia questions on Instagram stories. Go and answer today's college football question, as well as all things up to date for Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, the website, www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. You're going to find everything there, updates on the show, and home and about me page, platforms page, and which brings us to our partners at the Beard Club. Thank you guys for being our proud partner. Go and make your facial hair and beard needs be met by the Beard Club. Guys, we'll be back Thursday for an NFL edition of Pigskin Frenzy. More OTA updates, more things going on around the league. We're going to talk about that. And Justin Fields could be used as a red zone threat in the offense this season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're going to talk about that Thursday and talk about the scheme behind that for the Pittsburgh Steelers on Thursday. So that's Thursday. Next week, we'll continue with a more formal conference standing projections, where kind of actually is our first conference standing projections, starting with the Power Four and going with the ACC next Tuesday. So until Thursday for the NFL edition of Pigskin Frenzy, I'm Joel Norris signing off. We will see you then for an NFL edition of Pigskin Frenzy on Thursday. For everybody out there, please and always stay the course.